This seems to happen every single year. The closer that we get to WrestleMania weekend and that week of WWE action figure reveals, it seems that we start to get a few leaked lineups. And this is because most of these things are being pushed out because they're going to go up for pre-order very soon or over WrestleMania weekend, and, things get closer and closer, and, I guess they just can't keep the lid on some of these things sometimes. But WWE Elite Series 128, man, we're going to be diving into the full set here today, and this is a set we knew a little bit about a few weeks ago, but we do have the full lineup that we're going to talk about right here, and a huge shout out to Mitchell Craig on X for the information here, but we're going to get into it, man. Let's start off with the craziest pull, and that is going to be our very own WWE Elite Jelly Roll figure. So WWE Elite Series 128 starts off with Jelly Roll. Now, he's been on television for, I think, over a year now, just a little bit, or maybe shortly under a year, but we're finally getting a Jelly Roll figure. Say what you will, man, I've never been a huge fan of any celebrities in wrestling. I think that they can play their part. I think you can get some fun storylines in it and stuff like that, but I like my wrestling to be wrestlers that have been in it, if that makes sense, regardless of how good the celebrity is at wrestling or whatever the case is. But I guess they can't have the role. I know they've been around in wrestling since really the dawn of time, so I understand the business side of it. It's just I'm just not a fan of it. However, if it makes for a cool action figure, if this figure of Jelly Roll is really good, then man, I really don't have anything to say. Maybe it'll look good, maybe it'll feel good. Pause. What I meant to say was I hope that it feels good in the hand and maybe it poses well. Maybe we get some unique sculpts or accessories or something that really lift this figure, but it should be a very interesting one as we approach for a Jelly Roll action figure in Elite form, and I'm sure this will be on display at WrestleMania. We don't have an official gallery of WWE Elite Series 126 yet. I imagine that'll be the last gallery set we get before WrestleMania. It'll probably be a week or two before WrestleMania. We will get that gallery that features WWE Elite Series 126. This is the wave that has Roman Reigns and Roxanne Perez and Javon Evans. That wave should be getting promotional or OG images shortly before WrestleMania, and then as we show up at Mania, they may have that set on display, and then you'll see Elite Series 127, Elite Series 128, maybe some prototypes of Elite 129, and that'll probably be how it all plays out. But let's get into the rest of this set here. Next up in this set is going to be Randy Orton. Now, this makes a whole lot of sense when you think of a few different things. The first thing being that Jelly Roll and Randy Orton were tag team partners for SummerSlam 2025. They took on Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, if you guys remember that. And so it would make sense here in Elite Series 128 for Jelly Roll and Randy Orton to be together in the same wave because they were tag team partners. And I don't know if this will be from the same matchup. That would make sense to me if that were the case, and by the time that these hit shelves, it probably will be around SummerSlam time, and I know that Elite Series 128 coming up, we'll get to see them, but we won't actually have them in hand for a while. It's going to be a while until, and especially it's going to be a while until they actually hit retail shelves, which is usually about the timetable that it takes between a talent wearing that actual gear and then that gear showing up in the store is about a year's time process, and so that would make sense that Jelly Roll and Randy Orton, I could actually see them being there. The only thing that sucks about this is Randy Orton's gear at SummerSlam was very plain Jane, and I don't know how good it's going to look in figure form. And I also am afraid of this because Elite Series 116 Randy Orton, I did not like the formula, man. Didn't like the formula, and that figure was very similar to what this figure probably would look like, I imagine. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that I guess they don't have to do that gear. They could do a different gear there, and that would absolutely be a lot better in my opinion, but Elite Series 116 Randy Orton was not my favorite. I think that unless they upgrade the legs, shoulders, and arms, that figure is going to look weird, man. It just looks so weird proportionally to me, and so I hope that they do upgrade the shoulders and arms, and that they give him the striated shoulders, the jacked arms, and I think that will make that figure look a whole lot better. But Randy Orton is the second figure in Elite Series 128 to go alongside the Jelly Roll figure, which is pretty interesting, man, pretty interesting. Let's dive into Elite 128's third figure, and this one's crazy because I could have swore this was going to be the last figure in Elite Series 127, but it does look like they have moved this figure, and that is going to be LA Knight. LA Knight now a part of Elite 128 instead of Elite Series 127. Now, I guess it's possible that he's in both, but I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that's the case. It was rumored that he was in Elite Series 127 as the last figure, as the to be announced, and now that it looks like it's almost confirmed that he's in Elite Series 128. So if that is the case, then I would imagine he's not in Elite Series 127, and we will bring up Elite Series 127 so you guys guys can see exactly what that looked like. And I don't remember off the top of the dome. Maybe somebody can let me know off these previous news videos. I don't have my notes on this stuff right in front of my face. Hold up, let me see if I can find them real quick. So I think the last update that we had on this in Elite Series 127 was Sami Zayn, Alexa Bliss, Jacy Mateo, Nathan Frazier, Bronson Reed, and then the to-be-announced figure, or the to-be-determined figure, was going to be LA Knight. However, it looks like LA Knight again has moved to Elite Series 128, but based on some Walmart listings and some context clues, I think that the last figure in Elite 127 would be Seth Rollins. And this, now I'm cooking. Now my mind's going 100 different directions here, but just hear me out. Maybe Seth Rollins, because of these Walmart listings, there was a Walmart listing for a few different figures that we already know about in terms of coming in the future. We did see a Walmart listing for Jacy Jayne. We saw one for Randy Orton, Jimmy Uso, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. So all of those things kind of give me context clues. Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns, those are both in Elite Series 126. Well, we already know the full Elite 126 wave, so based off this Elite 128 wave, the only remaining name here that has not been shown or listed is Seth Rollins. Elite 127 could include Seth Rollins, and maybe that will be the case. Maybe it's going to be Sami Zayn, Alexa Bliss, Jacy Mateo, Nathan Frazier, Bronson Reed, and Seth Rollins. Maybe Seth Rollins will match Roman Reigns from Elite Series 126, so that would be his WrestleMania 41 gear. That would be a pretty cool figure. I'd sign me up all day in the white gear. That would be sweet. No Punk to be found. Maybe the CM Punk is the WrestleMania Superstore exclusive. Who knows? We're going to get that figure. Don't get me wrong. We will see WrestleMania 41 Punk and Seth Rollins. I just don't know exactly where they are. But if I had to pitch something or make a estimated or an educational guess here, I would say Seth Rollins will be Elite Series 127, and then LA Knight moves over to Elite 128. So far we have Jelly Roll, Randy Orton, and LA Knight for Elite Series 128. And then the final three figures are some figures that we knew about, but they should be exciting in a few different ways. The first one is going to be Jacy Jayne. This is a long time coming, I feel. You know, they always try to put a women's talent, at least one women's talent, into these elite lines. And based off the last three that we're going to see, we already know we're getting Roxanne in Elite Series 126, which is big. Finally getting an updated Roxanne. We're also getting Alexa Bliss in Elite Series 127. Feels like it's been an eternity since we saw an updated Alexa Bliss, so that will be a nice figure to see. I think that will be a really good figure and possibly the women's elite figure of the year. I know that you have some really good women's figures this year, but I guess it'll all depend on that head sculpt because, you know, Elite 125 Julia, Elite 125 Stephanie Vaquer, both of those figures really strong, head sculpt's missing. So maybe the Alexa Bliss can actually jump above those and be, you know, one of the top contenders because her head sculpt will probably be hopefully better than those two. But the next figure in Elite Series 128 is Jacy Jayne there, which I think makes a lot of sense and it should fit in well. Hopefully it's a nice gear and it's, you know, well, it poses well and all those different things. So hopefully the Jacy Jayne will hit on all cylinders. But the next figure in Elite Series 128 will be Ron Killings, which I think is pretty cool, man. I think this is going to be a really good figure. You know, if you look at the history of R-Truth figures, he actually bats a really high percentage. I know that's something we talk about a lot around here. R-Truth's figures in elite form are really damn good. I would like to personally see an ultimate of him. I don't know where they could fit that in, to be honest with you, but I still think that he would make for a very cool figure. And in elite figure form, we did get a couple. We got the Elite 115 last year, and we also got, or was that the year before? I can't remember. I think it was the year before maybe. But then this past year, we also got in 2025 the Awesome Truth Elite 3-pack, which was a damn good figure. I think it actually ended up being in the top 20 elites of the year for me last year. Very posable, felt great in the hand. That formula is so good for him, so I guess it'll just depend on what gear they go with. But damn, that should make for a really cool figure. Updated heel head sculpt or pissed off R-Truth head sculpt will make for a fun figure. And I think that'll be cool, man. I think R-Truth just has some of the best figures overall. Good aesthetic, good posability, good feeling hand. Looks like the character. So I'm hyped for a Ron Killings. Hopefully it looks good and has great accessories. But then we are also getting into the last figure of Elite 128, which is going to be Tama Tonga. Now, this is a long time coming. We do know that we have a few different figures to the lead up of this figure, like Jacy Mateo in Elite Series 127. And we've already had, you know, multiple members before this. And we're just trying to slowly update our rosters and get everything in there. It takes about a year, as we know. So it's just some of those things that you have to, you have to put up with when collecting, and you stroll into the store and then bam, they finally have that updated character. But that is the full wave, man. Let's look at it right here. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully the Tama Tonga is better than the Tama Tonga, because the Tama Tonga was one of the biggest disappointments of last year, man. Such a disappointing figure for me, because I've always been a big Tama Tonga fan. To finally get him in Mattel action figure form, and then it just let me down, man. Figure let me down. It was not up to par. Very cheap, and just gave him that 9 head. I did not like it. But let's get into the full wave here. Elite 128, Jelly Roll, Randy Orton, LA Knight, Ron Killings, Tama Tonga, and Jacy Jayne. Solid set, it's a different set. You guys know that in the main WWE Elite line, here lately especially, this has kind of been a trend that, it's because there's so many flashback waves, they tend to put a lot of just current day talent in the main line, and that's what we get, and that's fine with me. I don't really see a big deal with that, because there's so many sublines and different things where you can get flashbacks and these different things. Monday Night Wars, you have the Legends line, you have the Greatest Hits, you have the Greatest Hits Legends, you have the Monday Night Wars Greatest Hits, you have the Defining Moments, you have all of these different sublines where you can get plenty of flashback talent. So I don't think it's the biggest deal that we are getting all main talent in the main WWE Elite line. And of course, you do have your pay-per-view waves and stuff where you can dip into the past or you can dip into the current day. So that is really good as well. But that is your full Elite Series 128. I'd love to know what you think of Elite 128. Do you think it's a miss? Do you think it's a great set? Let me know what you're going to be grabbing. But I guarantee we're going to see these figures at WrestleMania, and I hope to see you guys out there. And I hope that everything is great, and we're going to cover it all here on the channel. And we should be uploading constant news and vlogs and everything over WrestleMania weekend, so you guys can look forward to that. But that is pretty much going to wrap it up for me today, man. Let's get into our random comment shout-out before we get out of here. And today's random shout-out is going to go to Lennon Lara 217. That entrance was badass. The final boss, goosebumps, flex emoji, laughing crying face. I appreciate it, brother. This comes from our Ultimate Rock review from yesterday, man. If you guys missed this video, been trying to do something a little bit different here and trying to just get the muscles flowing, muscle memory, and trying some different things with the review. So if you guys will go check out the Ultimate Rock review and the John Cena heel turn review, I would greatly appreciate that. Those videos take a very long time to make, and now adding that stuff at the beginning added even longer. So if you guys would just go over there, check it out, leave a like or a thought on that, I would greatly appreciate it. But that is going to wrap it up for me, man. Hope you guys did enjoy. I appreciate you guys so very much for watching, but I'm getting out. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and I will see you next time.